Most of people have plenty of things in your closet, but you only wear 20% of what you bought. In fact, you always feel like it's not enough. There's always one piece missing from your closet. You have plenty of things, but most of them were just collecting dusts. So we only want people to really buy what they love after wearing for a couple of weeks, and you know truly that you will like it, then you buy it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode here. Today, our guest, she's got a pretty impressive resume here. Anya Cheng is the founder and CEO of Taelor. And Taelor is an AI-powered men's clothing subscription service that's changing, hopefully, how people think about sustainable fashion. And before launching Taelor, she helped build the tech behind Facebook and Instagram shopping and led digital innovation at eBay and McDonald's. She has been has been recognized as one of the girls in tech's 40 under 40. Currently a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, a two-time TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and is currently teaching at Northwestern University. We come at the world from two completely different ends, and that is why I'm very excited about doing it. Her from the tech side and data, and me more from climbing it up from the street and operator side. So I'm really excited to try to bridge that gap and see what we can both learn today and see if we can educate you guys and entertain you guys in the process. Anya, welcome to the show.
Hello. This is Anya from Silicon Valley. Now I'm founder and CEO of Taelor AI. We use AI to pick clothes for busy men. So instead of traditionally the people have human stylists, and now with AI, everyone has their fairy godmother at their fingertips. And then we also help people send out the real clothes for people to wear for a couple of weeks. So once you are done, you return the dirty clothes, or you buy what you love and you get next shipments. So no more shopping or laundry. So I'm excited to share a little bit more about my new journey in the AI space, as well as my experience at Meta, eBay, and Target.
I love that, and as someone who struggles with, I think I'm right in the middle of your customer base because I'm somebody who struggles with clothes, and I have gone down this road before via the internet and matching clothes and that sort of thing. So I'm excited to talk about that. But let's step back just for a second before we do that. Like you said, you've worked for some of the biggest brands in the world: Meta, eBay, McDonald's, Target. What made you step away from that and take the leap into building something of your own? And before you answer that question, had you done that before, or had you mostly worked in corporate before going out for the first time on your own?
Yeah, it's kind of my first time. Of course, in my last 15 years career, I was mostly building 0 to 1. So for Facebook, Instagram shopping, when Meta wasn't have offering anything for e-commerce, or for McDonald's when they would help them launch a food delivery business when Uber Eats just started, or eBay, I helped them launch Latin America, Africa business and acquire new business in those regions. So it was a little bit kind of 0 to 1, but as you can imagine, it's very different being a tiny startup founder versus in working for big corporations. I also has been co-founder for some ideas before. I used to have an idea on that we use AI to shopping for people behind the things. And unfortunately, it was 10 years ago. And now looking at AI agent, it become more feasible and possible nowadays. Why I started a company when I was working for Meta, I was only few female leaders on the team. I felt a little bit imposter syndrome. So I want to look great. So I tried some subscription boxes like Stitch Fix. They do offer styling service, but you have to buy from every single shipment. And I use some rental companies like Rent a Runway, like or Newly is a $500 million company revenue company that started just less than 5 years ago. But all of those rental companies require me to pick 10, 20, 30, 50,000 garments, spend 2 hours browsing and picking. It was a aha moment that hit me. Oh, most of fashion companies are designed for people who are into fashion, not for people like me. I just want to get ready for the day and be successful. I don't care what I wear as long as you get a job, get a day, close the deal. So I start doing research and think if there are other more like lazy women like me, but turn out that there are a lot more busy men who hate shopping, hate laundry, want to look great, but don't want to think about fashion while reading GQ. And that's why the company was born.
Right. And so in doing that, you jumped in. Did you go in with investors, put in your own money? How did you put that together? Coming out of Silicon Valley, I'm assuming you had connections. What was your plan there when you put that together?
Yeah, when we started, I was just by myself. We doing just bootstrapping. I create a landing page on Shopify for $10, and I start putting like wait list. If you are interested in this service, give me your email. So one day there was a guy. He emailed me. He said, "I'm Michael from San Diego. Can you please offer me the service? I'm on your wait list." I ignored him. I thought he was a scam who were so eager to use our service. So months after, which was right before Christmas, the guy Michael called me again. He said, "Hi, I'm Michael from San Diego. I'm a real estate agent. I really like the brochures it shows on the website. Can you please bump me out to your service? I've been waiting for 2 months. You guys must be super popular. That's why I wait for so long." No, we were just not ready for the service. So then I realized these are real customers. We went to department store. It was right before Christmas. We bought a whole bunch of stuff from that's on sale, and then went to post office and shipped the package to him. He became our first customer. So from there, we realized, yeah, they are actually real people waiting on the wait list on our Shopify side. So we start serving customer one by one, and we serve 100 of them. So from there, we learn a lot about the business. At the same time, I convinced my MBA classmates from University of Chicago, where we get our MBA more than 10 years ago. So I convinced her to join me, and she came from the background of operation and finance, versus my background is mostly tech and marketing. So we start a company together, and then using the 100 people's insights, we put together a business plan. Okay, if we want to run this, we will need fashion brand partner. We need AI to picking clothes. We need to work with post office so we ship clothes to people. We need to have a little bit of laundry facility so we can do laundry similar to like dry cleaning, so then we can laundry them and send to other people in circular fashions, and since it's rental business. And from there we start pitching to investors. Okay, how do we get our first investor? So we reach out to our classmates and professors. So one professor say, "Hey, I cannot help you. I don't know any investors, but I can connect you to another founder, and he might be able to help." So I talked to the founder. The founder is in the AI camera space. He sells stuff to police stations. So in the conversation, I forgot that I was trying to ask him for investor. I was genuinely curious about his business and wanting to help. So after the conversation, I introduced a whole bunch of my connections, police departments, and bodyguard. When I was working for Facebook and when I went to Africa, we have a lot of bodyguard company. So I connected him to those companies. And a few weeks went by, he called me back. "Anya, thank you so much for those leads. I got a potential client because you. Thank you so much. By the way, how can I help? Why did you reach out to me?" And I said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was trying to ask you to refer your investor to us." So he connected us to his investor, which is Berlin Capital. They are early investor behind Lyft, Instacart, and another 20 unicorn. In half an hour conversation, we got $1 million. So sometimes give us game opportunity there when you are not looking for.
Wow, that interesting. And so then you run with that. And what kind of time frame are we talking about here? From when you're having those, let's say when the guy from San Diego, the real estate agent, gets a hold of you, to you're having that conversation. What kind of time frame are we talking about?
It was about 6 months time frame.
Okay,
So in
and
6 months, we bootstrapping and serve 100 people, put together a business plan, and start raising.
okay, and so then take us forward from that point. There, you got your first injection of capital, your first investment, I should say, and now you're off and running. Where do you go from there? And what time frame? How long ago was this?
It was like 3 years ago, 2, 3 years ago.
Okay.
And how do we get from there? How do we get our first supplier? We work with 300 fashion brands, but how do we get the first one? So I was thinking that if we get on news, then someone will reach out to us. So then I went to a TechCrunch conference, which is a big conference here in Silicon Valley. So I wait outside of the press room. As soon as the reporter came out, I sent them my business card. No, at that time I didn't even really have business card. It's just a random paper. So I found a person who actually worked for a trade publication in the fashion industry. So I talked to her. I shared my idea. I think it was perfect. So after I went home, I follow up and follow up again. One day she emailed me back. She said, Anya, stop emailing me. I'm not interested in the story. And then a few weeks went by. She emailed me back. I was thinking, see, you changed your mind, right? I told you so. She emailed me, say, I still think this is a dumb idea, but my colleague, for some reason, he's interested in the story. He's going to interview you, and I'm connecting you too. So I talked to her colleague. He totally got it. He really understands circular fashion, rental, help to save the environment. Today, 30% of clothes go directly from factory to landfill. Instead of burning the inventory, you find a new home. He got it. We had a great conversation. I was ready to get on the front page of the WWD, the fashion industry magazine. Few weeks went by, nothing happened. I follow up again, nothing happened. Life goes on. So we went out join a startup competitions. We won the West Coast Championship of the startup competitions. Right before we go on the global championship, which is in Chicago, and I thought of that reporter. So I thought maybe if we got on other news, then that reporter will be interested. So I reached out to a school magazine. Like we were nobody, so I thought at least school will be interested because I am Northwestern University faculty and I'm competing in University of Chicago because I'm an alumni there. So it kind of the news will sound like, hey, Northwestern faculty is about to win University of Chicago alumni competition. So nobody will be care about the idea except the school newspaper. So I reach out to the school newspaper, I pitch a story, and they publish it. For some reason, local news, ABC Chicago, picked up the story from the school newspaper and asked us to be on their morning show. So we got on the morning show and the story went out. So I took the morning show clip, I sent it to the fashion trade publication new reporter who interviewed me 3 months before. And I said, hey, why don't you send this to your boss? We got this news. Maybe it's time for you to publish this story. And the next day, the story went out. And a fashion industry company in Canada reached out back to us and say, hey, I saw this news on the trade publication. I'm very interested in participate. And it became our first supplier. And from there, we now have over 300 suppliers.
Wow. And the competition, why did you win the competition? In that context, very few of us obviously have ever been down that road. What set your startup apart that gave you the advantage in that competition?
In fact, I lost a competition in a global championship. It was a great learning. So how we won the West Coast Championship is I thought the best way to practice a competition, they have a pitch and a Q&A. I found 42 formal judges of the competition. And I did mock practice with them, 42 of them. So when I went on the pitch, my pitch was perfect. And that's how we won the West Coast Championship. But when I went to the global championship, as soon as the judge asked me the question after my pitch, which was perfect, I was stunned. I couldn't answer any question. Why? Because in my head, I didn't believe I can answer any question. I was thinking, oh, this question, practice judge number 37 asked me, and I wrote down the answer in the appendix number 2, and the answer was that. I didn't believe that I can be the founder. I was trying almost like a student, when you have open book exam as a student, as soon as you read a question, you went to the open book and start finding the answer in your book. And half an hour went by, an hour went by, and the exam ends. You realize you haven't written down anything. But in fact, when you go home, you look at the question, you know the answer. You
Right.
just didn't believe in yourself. You didn't live in the moment. And that's why we end up lost, even though we won because we done so much competition. So the learning told me that being a startup founder, you have to believe in yourself. Who knows that these things better than you are? You have spending 24/7 in the last few years thinking about that exactly topic. Who else know better than you do? Nobody. So if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And when only you believe in yourself, you can win and you can convince others to join you in your vision.
I love that, and I while I feel for the what you're going through as you did it, imposter syndrome in entrepreneurs is a huge thing. We deal with it all of the time. I talk about it all of the time, and so hearing you talk about it with your background and your experience, and as you were going into it, that you were experiencing the same thing. For all of us, many times, no matter how successful we had, as I talked about with you before we came on, I started my newest company, the Kronos Group. It's brand new, and I didn't start it because I was like, why would anybody want to answer to me? Why would anybody want to ask me questions? How can I benefit anybody? Forget about the dozens of businesses and the hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and all of the things that I bootstrapped and all the things that I've done and the experiences and the fortunes I've made and lost and all of those things. And how when I can sit down and have a conversation about business, I'll be here for all day. But in those quiet moments with all of that experience, I suffer from that imposter syndrome. I come from a very tough background. So I'm like, why would anybody want to talk to me? And as I started to, forever I ignored it. But as I started to talk about it more and more, a lot of entrepreneurs going out there, because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely experience, suffer from that same sort of imposter syndrome. But largely when the time comes to perform, it's been my experience that we step up to the plate. It's just those times before and after that we feel like we shouldn't be there.
Yeah, for sure. So, um, someone told me this idea, which I'm practicing every day. So over time, that many times we are overachievers, so we have plenty of things to want to do, and we tend to tell people that I should do that. I should have done more networking. I should go to the conference more. I should exercise more. But the more that you say that, the more negative energy that you put on yourself. You should means you are not, which is you're horrible. So someone told me that it would be great that you change the phrase. I would like to. I would like to follow up with the potential investor I met last week. I would like to start my own podcast. I would like to help on the community groups that Jerry started. I would like to promote the show that Jerry produced, right? So then you feel like positive, that is action driven, and then you the more that you say about that, the more you feel great for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's true, and actually going and doing it also, like I am now after talking about it for so many years, really starts to chip away at that kind of that imposter syndrome feeling. So I agree with you there. Let me go back for a second. Did you say that 30% of new clothes that are produced get thrown away?
Yeah, today overproductions and predictions of inventory is a real problem. Today, 30% of clothes go directly to landfill, generating 10% of carbon emissions, 20% of polluted water. Fashion is the most polluted industry in the world. And that's why company like Shein, they start a company and hoping to prevent the issue that there's hard to predict the inventory. So why not we only produce after people want to buy something? But in order to do so, they have to rush and make low quality clothes, which create another sustainability issue for the company, for the world, because the clothes they produce, it can only last for 1 or 2 times and become junk again. So instead of burning those inventory, we help them to find a new home. And in addition, fashion brand also send us their latest collection that's not yet live in production to test it out. So why not only do it for the over excess inventory? They also send us their latest collection, and our AI style the customer. We ask people their goals, that you want to get a job, get a day, close a deal. You want to look stand out or fit in, look more mature, more thinner, or looks muscular, and then we help them to pick the clothes using our AI, and our human stylists be the customer service for people if they want to talk to a human. And from there, they get the clothes that is already mix and match and as a perfect outfit for their upcoming occasions. Getting a job or going on an interview, talk on a podcast, or have a deal meetings. We're hosting a community groups for the founders, whatever occasion that's coming, and the customer can wear the clothes for a couple of weeks. Once they are done, They either buy the clothes or they return dirty clothes with a prepaid envelope, and in few days they get new shipments right away. So no more shopping or laundry.
Wow, that's fantastic. And I'll give a real world example. As a matter of fact, I work out of my home and out of my office. I run companies back in the West, but I work out of my office, and it's rare, but I do have the opportunity to go out. Well, where I have to meet people and do that sort of thing. And again, I don't keep a big inventory. I have a big conference coming up next week or next month, as a matter of fact. And so I didn't realize this is mine because I've gone down this road where I bought the clothes, right? They sent me, I picked out what I liked online and they sent me the clothes. You're telling me something very different. For this conference I'm going to next month, I could, don't let me put words in your mouth, rent a suit from you that should fit me nice and is going to be of good quality and is going to look good. I'm assuming a tie and a shirt and the shoes to go along with it, or give me that from my perspective as a potential customer here. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, but it's not just only the suits. We actually don't have suit. We have blazer, sport coats, but nowadays nobody wears suits anyway. So
Sure.
we have t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, jackets, and jeans and dress pants, whatever people wear on a regular daily basis. We work with 300 fashion brands, so the style could be Americano, could be classic, could be streetwear, could be whatever moderns. And the best thing is that yes, we can send it to you and you bring to the conference, or you can change your address. We can ship directly to the hotel. You arrive,
Mm,
you wear her clothes whole weeks. Once you're done, you put into prepaid envelope, give it to hotel lobby. You go home
mm,
without doing any laundry. It's just like in the old time, people would only rent the car once a year, or in the old time, people rent like tuxedo once every 3 years. But
right.
now with your Netflix show, people are renting videos all the time. The same thing in our model. Most of our customers just using a subscriptions, so they haven't been buying clothes for the last few years. And in fact, my personally using our competitors, I rent the runway are more newly on the woman's side of house. It's company they make 500 million revenue per year since started to 5 years ago. And on the woman's side of me, I haven't buy clothes for 10 years, but I have new different clothes every single week.
Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. The data, as you were looking to you had this idea. How did you prove out the idea before getting the investors? What did the data tell you? It seems like, again, I'm a customer of one, and I know by like anything today on the net, you become a customer of one thing, and all of a sudden you're getting inundated with ads for all of the other ones out there. So it looked to be a market with a lot of competitors in it. What did the data tell you that this would be a good bet and that you could get investors to come in on it?
Yeah, today, um, they are 42% of apparel market is actually for men. But you probably know most of company only go after women, which is 58% of them. And so today is that's equal to $140 billion business. And if you look at bottom out calculations, in the US, there are 15 million single guy and there are 14 million salesmen in the US alone. So in our projection, if we when we get 70,000 customer, that's when we make over 150 million revenue per year. And if you look at women's side, in 5 years they already make 500 million. So
Mm,
making of 150 million should be a reasonable projections. And what we have found was also, I think, really important is you really understand what problem are you solving? Because a lot of people ask us, okay, woman's rental company, they make a lot of money, so that's a great comp. But then, man, how do we know? And is that the same thing? So what we have found was that we are solving fundamentally totally different problem. Men want to do not want women want to wear different things every day. That's why they are renting. While men, they just don't want to think about it. They want hassle free.
hmm.
They want to get ready for their day, but they don't want to read GQ. They don't want to do research, and they also hate laundry and
Yes,
shopping. So
yes.
in our model, most of the customer using the service because they don't want to think about it. Also means what? Means that a lot of our customer after renting the clothes, they use it more like try before you buy. they actually buy something out of the rental. In the woman's side, woman will never buy because we want to wear different things every day, so we never buy. So in our model, our margin is a lot higher because customers tend to at least keep one thing out of shipment. Since, hey, I've been wearing this whole week, so this amazing. Everyone say it looks great, and it's looks new, and but it's pre-owned, so it's only have been one person wear before, but it's already 30% off, like with retail, because it's pre-owned. So just like leasing a car, I buy it right away. So I think it's important to know what problem you're really solving for whom. And we also found that for the fashion industry, what they really care is that we feed them the insight and feedback for their clothes. So yes, I can help them to monetize the excess inventory or testing out their latest collection before live in production. But the best way will be they being smarter over time, so the world will be better. So we
Hmm.
feed the feedback back to them. Hey, your clothes is great, but it's 1 inch short in the sleeve. You need to add the 1 inch so you can have a lot more customer can wear them. So by doing so, they are being smarter over time. So the world will be better because if they keep producing junk, the world is not going to be better. So then we also feed the data back to them to help them to be better for inventory prediction and designing for the next year's collection.
Yeah, that's really interesting from a business case, women versus men. And you're right. Give me 3 or 4 outfits, and I'll wear them in succession, and that's all I ever need. And nobody would ever say a word. So I agree with that. Do you get what is the pushback customer service wise at wearing reused clothing? Is there any reluctance on people's parts to do that? Have you faced that?
Yeah, I think some people at the beginning will think about that a bit, but they quickly discover circular is everywhere. Today, you go to a restaurant, you eat the fork in your mouth, which 300 people added before.
Sure.
You sleep on the hotel bed and you naked there, and the whole thing is there for the bed is there. 200 people slept before you. So, like, it's really the second hand is everywhere, circular is everywhere. Even today, you go to grocery shopping, the bag you used was reused before. Sometimes it actually even smells. So it's just everywhere. But in this model, it's more like try before you buy. You kind of try it for a couple of weeks, but it's still very new. So just like airport rental car is very new. So then most people end up renting it or even buying it. And so for our customer, they found that with they help them to be able to not committed to something. They can try and then they decide if they want to, and which save a lot of their mind spaces. And also when they buy, it's a lot cheaper because once it whereas even it's just one time wear, then the price goes up like 30-40% off right away. So it's a great way for them to get the discount as well.
How do you guys get your message out at this point as you're trying to climb up and get to scale? What is what is the value? What do you find to be the most valuable way to get that message out there to increase those sales?
We found that there has been working very well on ChatGPT. People actually find us on ChatGPT. We do very well. We just won American Marketing Association award because we got so well on ChatGPT. When you Google 2025 men's fashion trend, the answer is actually from Taylor versus from GQ. We do that because how we do it with human and AI interactions. So we start just similar to traditional SEO. We start with what people will ask for, but as you know, people ask on ChatGPT very differently when they Google. They ask a lot more. They give a lot more context, and then from there we have human stylists to generating style answer, and then we have the AI creating the content, and then we send it out to customer. When they rent the clothes, they have the styling tip, wear this top with the bottom with a white sneaker, and customer provide feedback and the feedback back to the system. So human AI with stylist, our marketer and customer, and keep everything is automated in a loop. So then it has great content, but also it has unique content. So that's how we were able to won and rank high on ChatGPT. Separately, we also partner with dating sites. Single guy want to look great,
Oh,
right? So we
yeah,
partner with
right.
Miss Bagel, matchmaking company, fitness center. losing weight, gain weight, you need definitely need new clothes. So we partner with fitness center, we partner with executive coaching company, consulting companies, and we also sell to corporate as employee holiday gift. So holidays are coming. If a company want to give the time as most valuable gift for your employee, no shopping or laundry is definitely saving time. Employee looks great, they close the deal, the money back to the company. So the why not give someone so your employee do not need to do any more laundry? Who say AI cannot do your laundry? AI can do
Right.
your laundry, right? So
Right.
we
Right.
also sell to corporate as holiday gifting, and we partner with women's rental company as well.
So, from an operational perspective, then, are you everything is onshore? Everything is local? Are you working out of one spot in the country? How do you handle the operations when it gets mailed back or mailed out?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. We have a warehouse here in suburb of California, and we have doing similar to just a dry clean business. We don't do dry clean because it's taxi for the environment. We do laundry, but it's just like similar to a little dry clean store. You come in, you wash them, just your like your airport rental car. You come in, return, you wash them, and in few hours we send it out again. Sending out is all post office, so they pick up twice a day, and we send to US nationwide within 1 to 3 days. So it's pretty easy and convenient for customer who return the clothes. They put into a prepaid envelope. You drop it off any post office, any mailboxes on the street, or they open the post office apps. With one click, the post office will pick up the package for free.
Okay, so you're able to do it economically from one warehouse on the West Coast.
That's right. And in fact,
Okay.
if you look at newly, the women's rental company backed by Urban Outfitter, they serve 300,000 customers with one warehouse nationwide.
Wow. Wow.
Because
So,
most of the inventory are with the customers. They are not stored in the warehouse. It's
yeah.
circular, right? So it's just like Uber don't have big giant parking lots because most of the car are on the streets. So most of the clothes are actually with the customer. You only come in to do laundry for a few hours and you go out again. So small warehouse is actually enough for all of our inventories.
So small footprint, but you're able to. Yeah, that's true because your customers essentially are warehousing the product for you.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And also, the thing is different from e-commerce. In e-commerce, I used to work for Target as head of mobile commerce team. So, in the problem for e-commerce is we have inventory because we are waiting for customer to buy something. But in our model, it's membership fee. So $100, you get to wear like 10 clothes per month. So we know who are our member from the get-go, just like Jerry's community group. And we
Hmm.
also know because we also know how to utilization because we pick the clothes. Our AI pick clothes for the customer. So there's nothing will be sitting in the warehouse waiting for people to pick because while AI pick, which we guarantee 100% utilization, we already know customer need it before we source them. So of course, as soon as it's coming, we rent it out right away. So we have zero inventory, 100% utilizations.
Wow, that's amazing. That's from a business perspective. That is amazing. So, speaking of that, for your average entrepreneur, your average business owner, or your average, let's say, your executive in a business, the affordability of something like this is it something that is out of the realm for a lot of people, or is it something that somebody that's working the 9 to 5 can afford to do?
Yeah, it's most of our customers say it's quite affordable, starting from $70 to like $100 per month. It's a lot cheaper than their dry clean. If you do like 3 to 5 dry clean per month, it's more than that price. If you buy one thing, it probably around that price already.
Hmm.
So, and on top of them, you get this free styling service with AI as well as the human stylist. And then you get to wear the clothes. You get to not need to buy the clothes, and then you don't have to do laundry or dry clean of it. And then so most of customer feel this very, very affordable. In fact, they ask us if we can sell them more stuff. A lot of customer ask us, okay, I like renting these, but can you recommend me a shoes? I'm not renting the shoes, but at least I can do. You can upsell me. I want to know how to pair with this outfit with what shoes, belts, accessories, hats, or even Christmas gift. Christmas is coming. You get me ready for my day night or family reunion. but where is the gift? Would you recommend me? So they really treat us more like their executive assistants, their black car service, their fairy godmother, or more like the gadget guy behind the superhero in those movies.
Yes, right. I love that. Let's talk about the business a little bit, or one more question, actually, while I'm thinking about it. Sales. How much of your business plan is sales versus the rental side?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. We have like 20-30% on the sales side. In fact, we think will be growing even more because we are only like 2 years old startup. So like last year we were so afraid of people buying stuff because then we don't have enough inventory. So we're like, please
Right.
don't buy. So but as we continue growing and we think more people will be buying, we don't want people buy a lot because we really want them to buy only what they really love. We think most of people have plenty of things in your closet, but you only wear 20% of what you bought.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, you always feel like it's not enough. There's always one piece missing from your closet. You have plenty of things, but most of them were just collecting dusts. So we only want people to really buy what they love after wearing for a couple of weeks, and you know truly that you will like it, then you buy it. We also know that customers are starting to want to buy more like add-on service, such as they say, hey, can I get a live styling, like Zoom with a human stylist so I can show my own closet? People ask, can I add extra item, extra shipments? Can I have no gap in between shipments? Can you deliver my shipment before I return mine? So we
Mm.
find a lot of add-on opportunities. And we also find, like I mentioned, shoes, accessories, and giftings.
Wow, that's yeah, going to be very helpful. You just found a customer. I think I can't wait to hang up and and sign up for this thing because it's yeah. You're everything you're describing about men. I feel like you're talking directly to me, and I'm pretty sure that all of the guys listening to this or who are going to listen to this are probably saying the same thing. But I'm sure you already know that. From a business side, you've seen it kind of from everywhere. It sounds like corporate startup. You're an academic. The tech side, when you look 10 years ahead, we talked about ChatGPT and AI, which of course is the rage these days. What do you think entrepreneurship will look like with AI and automation making everything easier to, theoretically start something? Or does that just kind of raise the bar for who can succeed? Where do you see that for people generally going out there to start a business? Do you think AI is going to help, or do you think it's going to serve only a smaller number of people relative to entrepreneurship?
I think the AI will help, but I think fundamentally is still if you are solving a right problem, right? Because if you look at the failure for the business, most of the time it's not because their technology isn't good enough. Most of the time it's not because they don't have money to hire an engineer. Most of the time is they are just solving a problem that doesn't exist, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we see plenty of things that go out of business and it doesn't make sense. So I'll give you an example for when I was working for Target. Our colleague, they thought of an idea. At that time, the technology was very popular in like AR, VR, and also geofencing. Remember, at one point, you were like, "Hey, you go to the store will become an in-store like AR, VR. You can snap a pictures, and then now you can see AR, VR of your homes, and you
Mm-hmm.
can write down your shopping list, and then it become an in-store GPS beacons, right? Remember last generation, people like beacons. Then you come in, we know where you are. We're micro geofencing. Once you will never get lost because you write down the shopping list. We will guide you through, and also we can upsell you along the alley. In fact, they launched that product. The idea is that moms sometimes go to store, they forget one thing, right? You say you come in and
Yeah.
buy the milk, you came out, it's like, where's the milk? So they say this is a great idea. We solve the problem. We can upsell them, and they never forget one thing. The launches is really, really hard. Imagine you have to go to every single store, knowing exactly what inventory where, and make sure it's Bluetooth and beacon, so then it can auto make sure that you are in the right GPS location in the store. They launch it. Nobody use the feature. Why? Moms are go to Target store to get lost. Mom doesn't want to store GPS. They are there to get away from their noisy kid. They want to wandering around the store and having fun. They don't like an in-store GPS. Turn right, turn left, right? So technology is there, and it was great, but nobody is using it, right? Because it's not working that way. So I
Mm-hmm.
think at the end of the day, yes, AI will make the technology better and easier for people, less barrier. But if you are solving the wrong problem or solving the wrong problem for the wrong person, this business will still be not there.
Now, that it has a similarity to what you're doing, I think, with men and women, I would assume, because from my perspective, what you just described, going to a grocery store is the bane of my existence. And so if I had a list and I knew exactly where to walk and it routed me out so I could do it as efficiently as possible and got out of that store as fast as humanly possible, I would be all over that. But you're telling me that from a female side, they want to go in there to get lost much more than the men do. Is that a true statement? I can't imagine men want to go in there and wander around.
That's right. That's why target audience are moms, right?
Yeah.
Mom go to a
Yeah.
store, they're wandering around. So you have to know your audience, like who are you selling to? Again, and make sure the technology is there to help you versus you have a technology and hoping to apply this so then you can see where the business will go with it.
Yeah, and I could see that also working against kind of the sale that you weren't expecting, the browsing type of sale that's not on the list, right? I mean, when I go to the store, I grab what I want, I leave. My wife goes to the store, she goes to get what she wants, and she comes back with 6 bags,
That's right. It's like,
right?
oh, what were you there to buy? I forgot. I don't know, but these are stuff that I got. So.
Right, right. My last question for you. Most of the listeners are operators, so entrepreneurs, and people out there grinding it and, just trying to build something real, not necessarily with funding. Most of these guys are bootstrapping this thing up. They don't have the connections or any of those things. And so real two different worlds there. What advice would you give to that person? Speaking for them, we have this we feel like we're a million miles away from what you've done and the way that you've gone about it and the connections that you have and Silicon Valley. And there seems to be kind of a gap between those two. And I'd like to try to get some sense of this in the last few minutes that we have on that person who kind of feels miles away from where you are right now. There's so many similarities, though. You were talking about follow up, right? I've often said, I tell this story about one of my nephews was complaining out of college that he had put in 5 applications and hadn't got a response. And a bunch of his buddies came on and said, yeah, I put in 3 applications and I haven't got a response either. And I went on there and said, no, y'all don't understand. You got to hear the word no 100 times, 500 times when you're building anything, when you're trying to get a job, when you're trying to start something up, right? You got to get used to hearing no and hearing you talk about how you had to follow up again. And finally, they were like, leave me alone. That's so reminiscent of what the entrepreneur on the ground is doing that doesn't have kind of the startup resources. So for those, what do you say to somebody like that might feel miles away from where you are right now? But again, there's those same similarities.
I want to maybe leave with that one story. So a year ago, and I didn't. If I posted, I didn't. But if I posted, you will see there was pictures me on the business class with a champagne, and the content will say it was amazing trip in New York. And really appreciate I met so many amazing founders and investors, and Taylor is now getting on the next milestone. You feel like, oh my gosh, she has amazing life. Her startup is going to a roof is amazing. But in fact, behind the thing of that photo was that I went on a trip to look for partners, investors. I stay in friends' house of living rooms. I'm 43 years old, and so I stay in the living room to save money for the companies. Every dollar should go to the company. I signed up for a conference. My friend live in suburbs of near Long Island. So then I have to jump in the morning, jump on the trains. I was in a high heel because once I go out, I will be outside for the whole day. So you will see with my pop-up banner, which is for the conference in the evening. And then during the day, I have other meetings. So I with my pop-up banner, with my the laptop, with my high heels. And it was 100 degrees. It was a heat wave in New York in June. news. So I was about to get on the train, and as soon as I step on the train, I asked, "Is this goes to Union Square?" And they said, "No, this is to the suburb." I said, "Oh," and I got off the train. I realized the train is coming out on the other platform. I run down and like run all the way to another platform. I was running like sweating like crazy. I got on the train and the train stopped because it was heat wave, so they went out of the electricity. I was stuck in the train for another 2 hours, and as soon as when I get on the meetings with the meeting location, again, it was heat wave out of electricity. So it was 100-degree at dark. We had meetings there, and the person was delayed for an hour because his train was delayed as well. So, and then in the evening, when I get on the conference location, I was late for half an hour. When I arrived, I realized nobody was there because I didn't pay attention to the agenda. They are actually going on a boat. So they are going on a cruise and the bus already left. So if you are late for a minute, then you are gone. So nobody was there. And then I thought it was so tiring. So then I decided to go to eat a dinner before I go head back to my friend's living room. After the dinner, I thought I should treat myself with wonderful, probably ice cream. So I got a whole bunch of green tea ice cream, a giant bowl, feel like I'm deserved it for after a long day. But after this giant green tea ice cream, I couldn't sleep whole nights. So didn't sleep whole night in the living room again. My friend living on the first floor, right next to a karaoke place in New York. So whole night I can hear someone singing karaoke right next door with my green tea in my body, and I couldn't sleep at all. The next day, go to the almost the same thing for 3 days. In the end of the day, I had in a conference, and I finally got in the next day I realized I actually bought a ticket of a conference without any meals because it's cheaper, and I realized I wasn't able to get into any meals. So I wait outside of the conference meal room because everybody's there eating dinner. As soon as they came out, I was in my business card and explain my business to them. And on the third days, I was finally able to get into a lunch. Someone gave me his ticket because he's leaving. So then in the meeting, in the lunch, I was talking to everybody. I totally didn't really eat because there was the only time that I was in the lunch learn that I can really talk to a lot of people. As soon as I went back to my seat, my next door neighbor was very kind. So she lent me a to-go box. So I put they have the extra fried rice in the end. So I put the fried rice in the to-go box. I head to the airport with that to-go box. Head to airport, waiting in line for 2 hours because heat wave again. All of us equipment went out electricities. So then it was waiting in line for 2 hours. When I was ready to get on the flight, my flight was already gone.
Yeah.
So they say that Anya, you have to rebook the ticket. Actually, you have to pay 100% of the ticket because your flight already gone. Suddenly, I start crying. I realized it was really, really my trip at all. And the person said, okay, if you really don't want to pay, there's one more chance, which is you can come tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and you can stand by. You might be able to get on the flight. So there was already 10 p.m. at the time. So I still have my fried rice in the to-go box with the Chinese takeout. And I head back I call my friend, can I go back to your living room? Head back there, 11 p.m., slept for 2 hours, eating my lunch or dinner at the same time, head to airport at 3 o'clock in the morning, got waiting in line at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I finally got on that business class ticket. So my point is that most of the founders or entrepreneurs, you will see other people's story, all amazing. But in fact, most people don't tell you is the sweat and tears behind the thing. And everyone has their hard time. So trust me, you are not alone.
That is exactly the answer I was hoping that you would give me, which is that, entrepreneurs, it's a lonely business and we feel like we're the only ones out here. I tell people all of the time, entrepreneurs will tell me about their problem, and then they think they're the only problem that they're the only entrepreneur to have that problem. And then I go to the next entrepreneur, and they'll tell me the same exact problem and tell me that they're idiots because they're the only ones that have that problem. And so, hearing you tell that is the most entrepreneurial story for a new startup that I have ever heard. It's absolutely perfect, and it just shows it doesn't matter where you come from. You're either hustling and you're either pushing through and maybe getting those tears, but you just got to keep going, don't you? Hopefully something positive came out of that meeting or came out of that 3 days.
Yeah, we think we get build amazing connections, and then I back to New York this year in June, and we just got 500,000 check from these trips. Sometimes it take multiple months or
Yep.
even years for you to see something the light in the tunnel, but I think eventually will be there because they are just like you planting the seeds. You don't know when the flower will come out, but like it's just like you are the little chicken inside the egg. You
Yep.
knock, you knock, you knock, and maybe it's 99 times that you break this rule, but you never know. Maybe it was the 42 times that make the crack that eventually help the 99 times. You just don't know yet.
I made a sale one time, and I'll leave it at this. A phone call came in, $50,000 a month client. They were clients for 20 years. On a sales call I had 4 years previous, and we hadn't had any interaction since. And out of the blue, called and said, "Hey, I have your card on my desk. We had that great conversation. We talked about softball and basketball. I remembered it very clearly, and this came back up, and we got the sale." And it was just that easy. It was 4 years ago, so it took 4 years ultimately to work that out. But it starts with, like you said, planting that seed. So I love that story. Thank you very much. This has been awesome, and I really appreciate you coming on. Your experience is fantastic, and your perspective, I think, is entertaining too. So, and I love hearing about a good startup. I am going to be a customer. I'm almost certain of it for Taelor. For everybody listening, you guys got to go check out Taelor. Taelor.style. It's at TAELOR.style is where you can go. And then you can follow Anya on LinkedIn and Instagram, X, Twitter, Facebook. Where do you want them to go, Anya, to catch you the most?
Yeah, feel free to email if you are partners, investors, or fitness center, dating sites, executive coaching company. Feel free to email me at Anya. That's Anya at Taelor.ai, Taelor.ai. For people who are listening, for the holidays coming, the best gift is style, is time, is sustainability. So help your loved one to look great and dress the part. So using the code podcast gift, PODCASTGIFT, podcast gift to get 10% off gift card, and then using the code podcast25 to get 25% off first month for the menswear rental subscription powered by AI.
Fantastic. Anya, I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. This is Anya, Taelor.style.
There you go. As I say, everybody, entrepreneurs, this opportunities are everywhere, as Anya is proving. You've got to go get them. Thank you again for listening. Anya, I appreciate the conversation.